Hello, we are continuing with around the world in San Francisco. So we are going alphabetically through the cultures. We reached Russian. The actual numbers of Russians in the Bay Area can only be estimated. Of the 7,800 listed by the 1950 census as Russian-born, only one-half are Russian Slavic background. The remainder are Poles, Ukrainians, Armenians, Yiddish-speaking Jews, and some Caucasian peoples. Among those who claim Russian as their native tongue are an estimated 10,000 emigres from Shanghai and other Chinese and Manchurian cities. The majority of these is China-born children or grandchildren of refugees from the Russian Revolution of 35 years ago. Among those who've identified themselves with the Russian language group are many from the Caucasus, Georgians, Tartars, Kyrgyz, people from various Cossack lands, as well as some Ukrainians and Carpato-Russians who consider themselves Russian and call their language Little Russian, including all Russians born in Russia, China, Manchuria, and European countries and their children born in the United States. There are approximately 25,000 Russian Americans in the Bay Area. Concentrated in San Francisco, Berkeley, and Palo Alto. The Russian group is divided and subdivided politically, socially, and religiously. The early immigrants are those sectarians who settled in the Potrero Hills 50 years ago. About 50 families came to the city when the first Russian church was established here in 1869. Descendants of these families still live about the Bay region. The Potrero Russians have increased threefold through their high birth rate and now number about 1,500. They are typical Russian peasants in social and family structure, but are dissenters from the prevailing Orthodox Church. Some of them are seekers of the spirit, commonly called Molokins or milk drinkers. Others are spirit wrestlers, often called Dukovers. Subotniks and Baptists. Molikani are a pietistic sect, followers of the patriarchal life. Vegetarians, pacifists, who drink no alcohol or coffee, have no clergy or religious rituals. So there's all types, basically, is that what they're saying? The other sectarians follow much the same way of life. The remainder of the Russians are refugees from the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917 through 19. One group came here 30 years ago, so around 1920, from the book date, which is the 50s, and settled in the vicinity of Sutter and Divisadero Streets. Made up largely of officers of the Siberian White Army and of the Imperial Pacific Fleet, they took up unskilled labor, doormen, elevator operators, gardeners, and grave diggers. Doorman sounds really funny. I think nowadays they call them security guards. Doormen, like they just open doors or something. And elevator operators. I don't think we have those. They're pretty much just security guards right nowadays, I guess. So then, house painters. Many joined the American Army, Coast Guard, others went National Guard, Imperial Cavalry, men forming a famous National Guard cavalry regiment. These men have now entered into the professions and have met up with the most recent emigres from the Far East who also entered the professional ranks. So there's chemists, physicists, draftsmen, not sure what that is, university professors, language, music instructors, dancing masters. The latter group included many Shanghai businessmen, the group being those from the Far East, I guess, who invested in small businesses here, particularly in the Richmond district, where they own delicatessens, pharmacies, real estate, and insurance agencies, beauty parlors, gift shops. Russian Americans of all kinds are prominent in the arts. Musicians, artists, dancers, interior decorators, etc. The China-born Russians who came here between 48 to 51 include many children of intermarriages. Russian Chinese or Russian Mongol or Russian British or French, some of Russian and American military personnel, mixes, I guess. Thousands of Russian live in the western addition between Fillmore and Divisadero Streets, about Buena Vista Hill and the Panhandle section, and on the Potrero Hills. But the greatest number live in the Richmond district, which is now the chief Russian-American neighborhood. They are a highly educated group, and although the most recent refugees are desperately poor, they have contributed much to the cultural life of San Francisco and have made it the cultural and political center of Russian life in America. Russian social life is highly organized. The Russian Center is a meeting place for a dozen societies. Among the cultural and artistic organizations are a little theater group, an opera company, a corps de ballet, and a magnificent Cossack chorus. Russian Americans are sharply divided on political issues. All the gamut of political opinions gamut, I guess mixture probably is the meaning, is represented from the conservative right. Oh, sorry.